Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Brown's Rod and Custom. Happy Memorial Day. Happy Monday. Well, this is kind of the culmination of an 11-year journey for me and this guy here. Today we start painting. God willing, nothing stupid happens between now and then, but so far we're looking really good. So as you see behind me, the 1944 two-door sedan deluxe. We're gonna do it. So we got the paint booth built. You can probably see that off in the distance back there behind Ron. We got a couple little things we're gonna do in there real quick here, and then we're gonna start setting up we need to tape off the top side of the hood, tape and paper or plastic, and the same with the trunk. So we're gonna paint the bottom side, the inside of the hood, and the inside of the trunk today. And basically that'll be our test run for the booth. Make sure we have enough exhaust, make sure the paint guns work correctly, make sure the paint does what we want it to do in the environment. Just kind of test everything out, so that if anything does go wrong chemically or anything like that, it's going to happen on the back side of the hood and the back side of the trunk, something we can easily fix. And quite frankly, like the back side of the trunk will be completely covered in fabric and leather and everything else by the end of this, with the interior. But yeah, so we got this car. So just so you guys know, we got this car in the winter of 2015, I believe. We lived in Falmouth, Kentucky at the time, right by Cincinnati, Lexington, Kentucky, Cincinnati, somewhere in there. We didn't have any cars at that point. We have had cars before, but at that point, neither one of us had anything. And we wanted to build a car.
We were going down I-75, and you were looking at cars, and
I was on eBay looking up cars.
And this one popped up.
This was there, and what this was, it was a body. It was blue with silver flames, okay? And it was the body, so the shell, the frame, 2 doors, and a trunk lid. That's all it was. And a clear title for this car.
It was this title.
Yeah, this title for this exact car. It was like $850. But it was in Wisconsin, up by Green Bay, and in the winter. And old guy had it up there, and so we did it, and we bought it, and me, my dad, and my brother Andy, we took a trip. We loaded up Big Red in the car trailer, and different trailer than what we have now, but we loaded up a trailer, and we went to Wisconsin, and it was colder than hell. I remember driving through Chicago, the lake was frozen, so that tells you how cold it was. And then when we got up there,
the guy was probably 80 years old.
Yeah, the guy's like 80 years old, couldn't really help us much. And the body and the frame, there was no suspension, no wheels. So, but we did have 3 strong backs, but at the time, this was too heavy with everything on for us to pick up.
But we had a makeshift set of wheels on a steel beam with a couple little rollers.
We made it work.
We made it work.
And we drug this thing on.
The problem, we didn't have a winch on that unit.
Yeah, no winch on the trailer.
Which we do have now.
We have now, but it made it tough, and would have made it so much easier. But we're trying to get this car onto the trailer with in the ice, and it's freezing cold. Your hands are sticking to everything. You're just cold. Like, we left the truck running with the heater going, and we were taking turns jumping in, just trying to warm up. And
this old guy had cool shit. He did.
Man, he did have some neat shit. He had a 1937 Ford convertible cabriolet that was beautiful. And
he was a car guy.
He was a car guy for sure. But we ended up buying a car and got it loaded up. He also at the time had the gas tank a Tanks Incorporated gas tank that came out of this car. Because what he did, we bought the gas tank, but separately, but at the same time we were there. It's one of those deals. You got anything else for this car laying around? And he did, and here we are. So the deal with this car was it was a street rod like 2 years before, and it's had the NSRA sticker in the windshield. Nice car, but
Silver, I mean blue,
like UK blue
with silver flames.
With silver flames. UK meaning University of Kentucky Wildcat blue with silver flames, and it had a 302 in it, fuel injected 302. We know that because the gas tank was fuel injected tank, and the guy told us
of it before he parted it out.
So the deal is, this guy was driving the car, this older gentleman, not the one that we bought it from, but another one, and he had a medical emergency, okay, and he crashed the car. I think he had a heart attack, and he went off the road and crashed the car, and it bent up the hood, front fenders, all of that, which is why we didn't have any of that. But the frame was good, and it put a little dent in that door, the other door, passenger side door, which we fixed, no big deal. And but there was no rust on this car, and so we stripped it down to bare metal. We used aircraft paint stripper and stripped it here in the driveway. I've got pictures I'll post later. Pretty wild. And took it down to bare metal, and then we metal conditioned it, and then we epoxy primed it, and then went from there. And yeah. So anyways, guys, 11 years. We got this in late 2015, almost 2016, so 10, 11 years. And
inside the garage.
For the first 2 years, it just sat in the garage, right? We moved to Florida. It just came down here. We had all these things going with the house, and it just sat. So it's not like we worked on it 11 years.
No, we got the 300 here, and we just let the 40 sit there. You know, it was titled and everything, so we just left it sit there, and we spent about off and on maybe 8 months body work, and just tank. Every now and then I'd come out and I'd do some body work on the 300. But it was really a good solid car, but it had some issues, so we worked on it off and on. So the 40 just took a back seat. We weren't really wanting to put much money in it at that time.
We're trying to build the Chrysler, with minimal money, and it was a challenge. But here we are, and really the last, I'd say 4 months, 4 to 5 months, we've been pretty much all in on the 44 and finishing the body work that Ron started, getting everything ready to paint, installing vintage air, installing power steering, replacing one of the steering knuckles that just looked a little rough, that just had some surface rust and stuff. We replaced that.
We got the whole front end, other than the grill, from a shop in Cincinnati, upper Cincinnati. That these guys were a street rod shop, and somebody came in and sold them some parts.
The front fenders and the hood were perfect factory.
They weren't cheap, but
they were cheap. I mean, I think we spent like $1,200 on them. It was more than the car, but you got a really good hood, and it was a deluxe front, which is what this was. And at the time, we were trying to understand the difference between a standard, a 40 Ford standard, and a 44 Deluxe. And there's a lot of different things. And running boards are different, grills different, fenders are different, hoods different. It's different. So we were making sure we didn't buy the wrong shit for like $1,200. But yeah, and that's also when we were there. That's where the 305 tune port engine that you see us mock up in all the different cars. Guy had that, we picked up from him for like $100, and same guy. And
we got a bitch and dash at while we were still in Kentucky.
Jimmy Finn sold us a bitch and dash for it.
Yeah.
Him and I think Mike Hall.
Yeah.
And he was a glass guy. It's amazing.
We were picking up parts, And we just got lucky and had an 8-inch rear Ford rear end that I know it's an 8-inch, but it was exactly the right size.
Get this. We're at a swap meet.
Good morning.
Hey, so we're at a swap meet, and there's a guy for $100. There's a 9-inch Ford, and there's an 8-inch Ford, and the 8-inch is the right width for this. So we're like, great. I think it was out of a Mustang or something, and so we bought it, both of them. 8 years later, 10 years later, whatever it ends up being, 10 years, no, about 8 years later, we get the 58 Chevy Apache sitting next to me here, and we go and we're like, we got a 9-inch Ford, let's see if it's the right width or we need to cut it down or whatever. It's the exact perfect width. So
we don't even know what it came in.
We don't even know what it came. We got it from a swap meet. You know, it came with something else.
And
But
he had the third member, and I think we gave
$100 for everything, for
$100
both.
Yeah.
But we had to carry them.
Oh God.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Forever.
We had a dollar.
Across the fairgrounds.
Yeah.
It was through the grass, and it wasn't like it was paved. It was grass, and that's how we got the rear end of the 40 and for the Apache truck. Both were exactly the right size. Neither needed to be cut down, and here we are. And then we ended up on that rear end. We ended up changing out the third member to a from the 9-inch Ford guy, 8 and 9. I think it's 8 and 9-inch Ford guys. If you're looking them up, they're great. They built us a Eaton True Track gear driven posi third member with the heavy duty housing, the waffle housing, with the upgraded yoke and a 350 gear. So that's what this actually has in it. The rear end's pretty beefy for an 8-inch. We're running a turbo 350 with a shift kit and a 2800 stall speed converter, and then the with a stock flywheel, and then a new one though. And
Universal joint built the drive shaft and balanced it.
Yeah.
And
Universal joint here in here, right?
yeah.
Yeah, here in Tampa somewhere. And drive shafts good to go. Engine is a 350 or 30 over. It has the Camel Hump 461 heads, which I believe those are the 194 valves, not the 202s, but they are a smaller combustion CC chamber, which bumps the compression up. We rebuilt it. We had, what is his name?
Big shot.
Scotty's Racing Engines here in Spring Hill. Amazing, by the way, highly recommend. They went ahead and did all the machine work on it, on the block, 30 over, went through it, turned the crank, did everything, mounted the pistons on the rods, all of that, new cam bearings, the whole deal, and then gave it back to us. They went ahead and sourced the pistons for us. We went with flat top pistons, a good set, and you know, I think it's got a 350 horse.
We duplicated that.
Comp cam, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, comp cam, 350 horse. Basically, there was a factory GM motor that had 350 horse. That was high performance, and we basically duplicated it as far as compression, the heads, they're the same casting heads, same cam. Went with a 4-barrel intake with a, I think it's a 670 or 650.
We started with a Holly.
Started with a Holly 675 Street Avenger,
We
which
still got it.
was, there's a large difference between an Eldebrock and a Holly as far as how they sound and how they run. The Eldebrocks are probably more dependable
It's smoother.
and smoother. The Hollies are like
An animal.
An animal. They're fucking awesome.
It ran
So,
great.
it ran great, other than they had a little stumble, and we just,
And I think that was accelerator pump. We
Something
bought
we
a
could've fixed.
rebuilt one. But we were trying to do this one more for dependability.
we wanted to be able to get in and drive it
With
to
electric choke and all that.
from
so
Florida. So, yeah, so.
I like them both.
Yeah, runs great. It's got headers, block hugger headers, ceramic coated.
2.5 inches stainless exhaust.
Yeah, 2.5 inch stainless exhaust, polished all the way back. It dumps out right by the rear end with turn downs, which has caused issues because it's loud as hell inside that car.
Yeah.
But we haven't got the actual insulation completed
Yeah,
in
tin
it.
can.
And so it's almost like being in a soda can, and you know, but it'll get fixed once we get it painted. And but it's not loud on the outside of the car. It sounds perfect out here, but when you're in it, and it's not that it drones, it's just loud. You can hear it. Just sounds like you're literally sitting next to the engine.
The best thing we did is put made the dash to where it plugs in and plugs out with waterproof plugs.
We can take the dash in and out, which is great.
Yeah.
It bolts in, and then
so in 10 minutes, one guy can have that dash sitting out here on a rack, and
it's actually right now it's in my fifth wheel camper sitting on my table on a blanket.
locked up in the camper.
Yeah, you know.
But
So
everything's plug and play. So if you have any issues on your wiring or anything,
pull it out.
it's just easier just to unplug it and 4 bolts and it's out. And then you're looking at everything under there. If you have AC unit problems, if you have any problem, you're not dealing with all that crap. You're not trying to lay on your back and crawl under there. So much better.
So without further ado, I don't want to make this video too long.
Let's get to work.
We're gonna get to work while it's still decent out. I did bring the air conditioner from my house, the standalone. So we'll have that in the garage going here in a minute. We're gonna finish the paint booth, couple things to do, and then we're gonna start prepping trunk lid and hood. And then hopefully, you know, by 10 or 11 we're painting. So that would be ideal.
Honestly, we're just kind of killing time waiting. We didn't want to.
We're waiting on everybody to wake up on Memorial Day.
Yeah.
Before we fire up the chop saw and, you know, start the miter.
It's almost 9 o'clock, I think, or close to it. That's fine. We just didn't want to. We were here really at 7, but
been moving everything out, trying to do everything quietly that we can.
yeah, we don't want to piss off the neighbors.
No, especially not right now.
Yeah.
But anyways, guys, appreciate all of you. This week is going to be nothing but painting this car. So hopefully tomorrow we're painting the body you see behind me, and then the next day, Wednesday will probably be doors and trunk lid, the top side of the trunk, and maybe some other stuff. But we really don't want to get too much stuff in the booth and get it to where we're racing around trying to paint we have time. So we're just gonna, you know, we're like Tuesday will be just the shell. We'll get that done, right? And then doors, trunk lid, and then fenders and hood. And these parts are big. They're very big. And it might be hard to see on camera, but they're huge. And they're basically like painting a basketball. They're rounded. And so how you set things up in here is going to be critical to where you don't get issues where you can't get everything covered, right?
We're probably going to set a tent up here to, because once in the mornings, we'll try to paint when it's early. And then we're going to give this, like this shell, a couple days to flash off, and, you know, before we jump on it with
wet sanding and buffing.
Yeah, we usually start at 1,200, and then 1,500, and then 2,000, and 3,000, then 5,000, and then we hit it with the 3M rubbing compound and buffing compound, polishing compound. Yeah, and we got a couple buffers and a mini buffer. So, you know, that the sun, as long as you're in the shade here and you can put a fan on you or something, it's tolerable. I mean,
and it won't be too bad once we get everything actually done, because we'll be able to wet sand and buff in the booth and with the air conditioner going, and that's going to save us.
Yeah.
That'll really help. So anyways, guys, we're going to get to it. Stay tuned. This entire week is going to be painting this car, and probably getting into next week a little bit. So stay tuned for this. You're going to see a gigantic transformation. This is what we've all been waiting for. Stay tuned, guys. Hit that subscribe button if you're watching, and cross your fingers and pray for us that everything goes well, because we're going to need it. See you in a minute, guys.